I don't want to picture it. We're still learning how to use this thing, and I apologize. We're still struggling with this. Yeah. All right, so today we're talking about the greatest time waster in the 21st century. And we know time is the most precious commodity in the 21st century. Every one of us has got more shoes, more clothes, more knowledge, more everything, but nobody in the world has more time. Everybody is 24 hours. From the first Adam's time till now, we all only had 24 hours. That's the only thing that doesn't increase. And we are so short of time, and yet we waste time in an amazing way, right? So one of the biggest problems we face is how to save time. And I can tell you this, the biggest time waster, right, are meetings. It's unimaginable, right? We are told, okay, that most good companies, when they do a survey, they survey the top companies and they ask the executives, how many meetings are ineffective? And the answer is usually well over 70%. In other words, over 70% of meetings in top companies, I'm not talking about in churches that don't know how to run anything, NGOs that don't know how to run anything. I'm talking about top companies, 70% of meetings are ineffective. 50% of people usually ask themselves, what am I doing in this meeting? In other words, why am I even here? I've got so many things to do, and I'm stuck here, right? 40% of people in top companies admit falling asleep at meetings. Wow, this is like unthinkable. How did we get into such a horrible condition? I'm sure you have the same experience, many of you. You sit in a meeting and say, what am I doing here? And I can see that very clearly. In most meetings, people come late. They purposely come late because they've got a lot of work to do. And they know it's going to start late, and it's going to be a lot of waste of time, so they purposely come late. And then they flick up their cell phones, right? And for 1 hour meeting, for 45 minutes, they're wondering, what am I doing here? I don't know what's going on, who's discussing what, and all that. So this is the situation. The Bible tells us time is short, harvest is plentiful, laborers are few, and what do you do with the laborers? We waste their time in meetings. Some of you say, come on, PC. Meeting is only 1 hour, man. A week, I only have 1 hour meeting. Yeah, but if you have like in GTC, every time there's a meeting, there's 40 people, right? 1 hour times 40 is 40 hours wasted. And yet everybody says, I don't have time, I can't finish PC, there's so many projects. And then we waste 40 hours, just like that. We kill the 40 hours, right? Now, are meetings useful or not useful, right? There are purposes for meetings, right? From tribal times, I believe from the time of Adam, there were meetings. When Adam had a few children, they already had meetings. Meetings are part of society, and we're all social beings. So there's nothing wrong with meetings, okay? From time immemorial, from the beginning of time, meetings fulfill 5 basic purposes. Number 1, your sense of belonging. If I'm in a meeting, it means I'm part of this group. So it is good. I feel I belong. Number 2, I need to hear information, all right? So from tribal times, okay, they will tell you, hey, the enemy is stronger than us. We better start preparing. Or, oh my goodness, this year our harvest is very bad. We better start eating less and saving more. You need to share information, right? Number 3, meetings are for social mind. Social mind means culture. We think the same way because we keep hearing the same thing. Or we keep hearing like, okay, we have to be better, we have to work harder. So it becomes part of our culture, being hardworking and so on. So it gives us all a common mind, frame of mind, common thinking. Number 4, we have to make decisions, all right? For example, in the tribal time, they will just say, okay, when should we start planting? Should we plant more corn or should we plant more rice? I think this year was very heavy rains. Maybe next year we're going to have too much rice this year. Decisions are made. And when you make a decision in a meeting, there is more commitment because we all are there together to make the decision, and we make the decision together. Okay, let's plant corn next year. And then everybody does that. Or let's arm ourselves with more spears because our enemy is getting stronger. So 5 things come with every meeting in the past. Now, what is the problem then? I mean, if meetings can achieve so many things, then why are we talking about having a problem with meetings? The problem is that in this modern time, there's so much information. All right, the Bible says in Daniel 12:4, knowledge shall increase. So there's a lot of knowledge now. Right? In the past, you shared information. How much do you share? You share, oh, okay, we have one enemy in my kampong, in my barangay. The other barangay. I mean, you just talk about 2 barangays. That's about it. You talk about rice or corn. There's not a lot of things to decide. There's not a lot of information coming in. But in the 21st century, we are overloaded with information. And if we try to share information in a meeting, we spend hours sharing information. Right? One guy will tell you this, another one in the meeting will tell you this, another one will tell you, oh, last week we started a new campus. Another one said, oh, last week we started Go Basket. The other one says, last week we started our student program. And the other one says, last week we started our SYE. And then the 5 schools in SYE. Another one says, oh, we have a pastor's English talk. And, oh my goodness, how many things are going on? I cannot process so much information. So in a typical meeting, you start sharing information. It is now no more a 21st century meeting. 21st century is too much info. So please, for goodness sake, don't use meetings to share information. We have technology now where we can share information, right? Why do you use a meeting? When the guys talk about SYE, the fellows talking about basketball have no interest in SYE. They have to sit through this whole thing while you share about SYE. I don't care about the SYE. You know? So what happens in a typical meeting is we still behave like the time of Adam, where we sit in a kampong, in a barangay, and we share, because in those days there's not a lot to share, number one, there's a lot of time, all right? So what's the hurry, man? Okay? There's not much to share, plenty of time, sit back and talk, right? Today you cannot behave that way. We are in the last days, so for goodness sake, let's move to the 21st century. Right? So what is going to happen now? When we have information to share, please do not share it at a meeting. Right? We have email that we could share. We have WhatsApp chat group. We could all share. All the SYE people would share what's happening in SYE, project updates. No need, excuse me, can you tell me what's happening in SYE? One will stand up in my school like this, and I want to stand up to my school like this, in my schools like this. Can you talk about basketball in my barangay is like this? Oh my goodness. All right, do we have to go through this? Do you know the human eye can read a lot faster than the mouth can speak? Right? If you send a text, I can read that very much faster than I can speak. Unless I speak like this very fast. You know, you cannot speak like that. But your eye, when you see SYE, which school, how many students, you can actually see the whole screen at one time. Right? So for goodness sake, 21st century human beings, please do not share information at a meeting that can be shared prior to the meeting. All right? Using email, WhatsApp, or whatever you like to use, Facebook or whatever. I don't know what you guys love to use. Okay? Everybody, unless you are illiterate, unless you have dyslexia, reads faster than you can speak. Right? Any educated person can see far more, right? Faster, right? Actually, charts are the fastest. You see a chart, you get information 60,000 times faster than text, okay? And text is much faster than speaking, right? So please never share. Never use meetings for sharing information that could have been shared throughout the week, all right, in a WhatsApp group. Oh, thank God, Principal today opened doors for this program. And then when you are having your breakfast, you can see all that. Right? You don't need to go and waste everybody's time, 50 people's time to share that. Okay? So today, I hope we understand that this is very, very important, right? So information, project updates, please just use media and share it, that people read at their leisure, and that people digest it at their leisure. People who are not interested in it, skip it, right? Because it has little relevance to them. Right? So very simple. You remove information from a meeting, you already save lots of time from a meeting. Now I'm going to talk about 4 types of meetings. Okay, the first type we call the assembly, committee. Number 2, one-on-one, and prayer meeting. You will notice 2 meetings are missing here for most of you. Straight away your eye will tell, hey, where's the staff meeting? Where does it fall into? My goodness, every time we attend staff meeting, right? Where is the staff meeting? Number 2, where is the church meeting? Right? Now, let me tell you why I didn't include these 2. A church meeting, I don't want to talk about. The church meeting is so traditional, it's so sacred, that if you actually try to change it, 9 out of 10 Christians who are basically immature will protest. Right? Though it's not biblical the way church meetings are run, though it is not efficient, but it has become so sacred that we Baptists do it this way. We Presbyterians do it this way. I don't want even to touch it. Okay? If people want to keep sacred things, you just cannot touch that pulpit. Sometimes if you take the pulpit away, half the church may actually think you're gone heretical. Certain things. So church meeting, I don't touch. Staff meeting is in this, one of these 4. And I want to show you in a moment how we mix up the staff meeting. Right? Typically, as far as I can see, if all of you here understand how to run these 4 types of meetings, you will be very much better. The meetings will be more efficient. People will participate more. People will enjoy going to meetings. People will come up and say, that was good. Right? Rather than, what in the world was I there? What are they trying to do? I got so much work, help me, right? So let's look at these 4 types of meetings, okay? Now before we do that, there are 2 things. Everything that you do, it doesn't matter whether it's meetings, whether you run a project, whatever, okay? If you don't have these 2 fundamentals, you can't do anything in life, right? Always have a clear goal, right? You start something, ask yourself, why am I starting it? You have a meeting, ask yourself, why am I calling a meeting, right? What's the goal, right? Don't say, I'm calling a meeting because it's on the calendar, right? You can always stretch things on the calendar, it's no big deal, right? The calendar is not the Bible, right? But what's your clear goal? Always have a clear goal. Why am I calling this meeting? Why am I calling John to this meeting? Right? That's number 1. Number 2, have a good leader, a chairman, or whatever you call it. Right? Everything in life, projects, okay? Never start something because, somebody gave me a building. Somebody gave me money, so I will start something. No, what's your goal? Spend money? Is that your goal? Huh? All right? I'm doing this because someone asked me to do it. Really? Are you spirit-led or man-led? So always have a clear goal. Why are you doing this? Right? Is this what you want to do? Is this what God wants you to do? Not is it why my friends want me to do or what my budget wants me to do, right? Number 2, right? Any meeting, the success or failure depends on the quality in the leader. That's why you're being trained today to be good chairman of meetings. Okay? So nobody is born a leader. Right? Everybody has to be trained. You get promoted, but are you a good chairman of a meeting? A good leader. So I think these 2 things, let's move on, right? Before we move on, remember this law, Parkinson's law. Work fills time available. Typical meeting is slotted in the calendar. 8 to 9, staff meeting. So what do you do? Well, you've got nothing to talk, you've got to fill the 1 hour, right? It's there, right? Work is to fill time available, right? And so, we just talk and somebody rambles on and then it repeats itself 5 times over, and then it's not, okay, it's 9 o'clock already. Let's start closing prayer, we go, right? Remember, work fills time available and time is precious, okay? If the meeting is only good for half an hour, put it for half an hour. If a prayer meeting is only good for 15 minutes, stop it after 15 minutes. don't have a 1 hour prayer meeting because it's a 1 hour prayer meeting, right? You got nothing to pray, shut up and go, right? So don't let Parkinson's law rule you, let God's law rule you, let God's law is time is precious, right? Redeem the time. Laborers are few, harvest is plentiful. Laborers should always be doing effective, efficient work, right? All right, first kind of meeting, assembly. What in the world is an assembly? Assembly is when you call everybody, all right, to the meeting. Right? That is an assembly. Everybody is invited, okay? Usually the numbers are large, okay? Let's take GTC. GTC, whenever PC comes, there's an assembly. Everybody gathers, all the staff, PC will be all the staff, and a whole bunch of people come. No need to ask, why am I invited, why am I not invited? Everybody should come because PC wants to see everybody, right? So what makes an assembly an assembly? First is large, right? First, everybody come, right? No need to think so hard, who should I invite, who I should not invite. You belong to GTC, you come. You belong to SYE, you come. You belong to WASTER, you come, all right? That is very important. Purpose. Don't go share information. I could easily have shared information through sending information to you, right? It's very easy, right? I could easily have said, oh, now Good UK is in 9 countries and blah, blah, blah. We 200 workers. We now move to Afghanistan, all right? You send a text, everybody will know, right? But the first purpose of assembly, when PC goes, it's an assembly. I want to appreciate people. Now, when you send a text, it's not quite the same as having everybody there, and then you highlight. All right, I really appreciate what such and such has done, how he's brought SYE up to a new level. I appreciate Go Basket, how his team now has moved such and such, done amazing things, how the police work in Laguna is going bigger. Appreciation is very different when you are appreciated in a crowd, not in an email in your room by yourself, right? So use the time for appreciating people, okay? When I say assembly, it could be the beginning of the year in GTC, right? Rani could call everybody and thank everybody for a wonderful 2018. Thank everyone that our revenue now has succeeded, and especially like to thank the food and beverage department because they have done a wonderful job. Want to thank especially the housekeeping team because there's so many groups coming in and they managed to, appreciation. This kind of thing is very hard to do by technology, nothing like the human touch. Number 2, motivation, right? Appreciation is what happened. I thank you all for doing. Motivation is, wow, I'm seeing the potential of SYE. It can enter every school in this Balige or whatever district. Whoa, this is amazing. Do you all understand how this can, very hard to motivate on email, unless you use emoticons, thumbs up and likes and all that. It's not the same, okay? So when you have an assembly, please don't spend that time talking about information. That one you can use email, right? About project updates, you can use email. But hard to motivate using email, right? Your voice, your passion, very hard to show on a piece of paper. Okay, so next, you want to have an assembly because you want everybody to feel part of a bigger group. Sometimes the F&B people never see the housekeeping people. The SYE people never know there's a GLFI team. When we have an assembly, everybody comes together. Everybody feels, wow, I belong to this big clan. I belong to this big group, this big company. It encourages us. Okay? So again, the rah-rah, thank God for this department, helping this department, and how this department helps this department, and how we work together. Wow, we are part of something bigger. We are part of God's amazing work, right? So, assembly, very simple. It's basically an appreciation, a motivation, all right, and a part of belonging. Please don't mess it up. Don't at the end of the assembly ask, are there any questions? I mean, there are 100 people there. Nobody's going to stick his hand up, you know. You're just wasting time. And then you wait and wait for a question, and maybe some guy feels, wow, it's quiet for 2 minutes and then ask one stupid question. You know, assemblies are not for time of asking questions. Just like when you're in school, your principal call assembly, they rah-rah you and motivate you, etc. And then they didn't ask the students, excuse me, any questions? No, it's not Q&A time. Forget it. It's an appreciation, motivation, sense of belonging time, right? Not a time to discuss issues. I mean, there are 100 people there, and then you ask, or someone brings up a question about SYE, and then you start discussing about SYE, but only 10 people are involved in singing your English. The other 90 are not involved. And what are they going to do in the discussion? They don't know what you're talking about, right? And then you're discussing among the 10 of you, and as if everybody's involved, the other 90 are taking out their phone and saying, what am I sitting into this meeting? What are they talking about? Right? Please no discussions at assembly. Rah-rah, bam, 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 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Amen. Let's go. Pray and go. All right? Don't drag it on. Don't feel time available. Right? Definitely no scolding. Right? You want to scold? Scold individuals. Right? Some Harvard leaders scold in assemblies. They dare not face people. They scold in assembly because there are 2 people in the 100 who are naughty, and they dare not face the 2, so they scold the 100, hoping the 2 will say, yeah, it's me. I can guarantee you the 2 who did the wrong are not going to say it's me, right? They are the likeliest one who say, yeah, it's very good. It's not me. Then all the other 98 are saying, why is she scolding us? What's all this about? I don't know, right? So the guilty fellow doesn't admit it. The other 98 are confused why you're angry and scolding when I don't even know what the crime of these 2 is. Okay? So a lot of times I've seen this, right? I'm tired of this. Okay? A school principal goes out and talks about some misbehaving kid, and there's only 5 of them. And the school has 1,000 people. Why do you just call the 5 kids up and give them a good thanks slap and tell them, what's wrong with you guys? Right? So please, not for Q&A assemblies, not for discussion, not for scolding, right? For motivation, appreciation, right? So I hope you get this clear, right? Assemblies can be called at any time when you want to appreciate, when you want to motivate, you make people sense of belonging. It can be every semester, it can be every quarter. It's up to you, right? But I recommend assemblies on a fairly regular but short and sharp basis. If you drag, my goodness, we have to go through this every month. But in every month, you call people together, and then bang, 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 bang. You appreciate people. Who's the worker of the month? Who is the top one? Who's the new one that's come in? Has done an amazing job. And then in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, everybody goes off, upbeat, ready to kill do an amazing thing, achieve things that they never thought possible. Right? So assemblies, get clear why you are there. All right, next meeting. Assemblies, everybody's expected to be there. What about committee meetings? Who's expected to be there? Only selected people. No spectators in a committee meeting. A committee meeting is for discussion, for planning. Only people who have the know-how, people with the background, people with the ability and the responsibility should be there. Otherwise, everybody's sitting through. So you see a typical staff meeting in a typical organization, like the organizations we have, they confuse a staff meeting. They're not sure whether the staff meeting is an assembly or a committee. Alright? So they start with the assembly, rah, 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 we really appreciate, and then after they start discussing things. Okay, our senior English program, now we are in Bali, where do you think we should go next? And then one knowledgeable person will finally raise their hand and say, I think we should go here. And all the rest say, what the world's that? I don't know what that is. And then the discussion goes on. As if it's a committee meeting, you know. The committee meeting is for decisions, not appreciation, not motivation, not sense of weakness. It's for decisions. It's for planning. It's for ideas. If I don't have knowledge of SYE, what am I doing there? Hey, I got work to do. No, don't let me get stuck here, okay? So many times our staff meetings are straddling between assembly and committee. We mix the two together. And that's why 50% of people say, I do not know why I am at this meeting. They're talking about basketball. I'm in the F&B department. What's it got to do with me? All right? Hey, they're talking about drug addicts. I'm in a basketball. Why are they talking? What's happening in the drug addicts? I don't know. They're asking me to, any suggestions? I have no suggestions. I don't know anything. Right? So when you come to a committee meeting, selected people. What do you mean by selected people? People have background knowledge. They will understand that issue. People who are in the position where they can help, plan, make decisions, give ideas, brainstorm, whatever. But they must be in the know, right? They're not anybody that is there, okay? So typical committee, please, all right? If your committee is more than 10 people, I can guarantee you nothing will get done. Or half of them will asleep because 2 or 3 will be talking. The other 7 are like, okay, whatever, right? Okay? So if you have a committee meeting, please, only selected people. The smaller the committee, 5, 4, 3, better, right? You don't need 10 people, right? So typically, please get the key people, the knowledgeable people, and the rest can be released. So if you have a typical staff meeting, you've got to start assembly, like an assembly, everybody's there, okay? And then after that, you say, okay, today I think one of the issues we need to discuss is the basketball program. All of you who are involved, not involved in the basketball program, can go, and then you'll find a lot of people still sticking around who are not really in the knowledge but want to hear a bit and then, and they actually sit around. You can politely tell them, you know, I'm sure you guys got a lot of work to do, right? This meeting is going to be a little longer, a little more in-depth. I recommend, right, that you don't need to sit in this meeting. We will give you the findings later, right? Keep it to key, knowledgeable people. Then you get what I call good suggestions, not nonsense. You get don't waste anybody's time, right? And decisions can be made very fast, very effectively, right? Number 2, every committee, when you call a committee meeting, clear agenda, very clear. Better tell people, I repeat this, listen carefully. Give them the agenda before the meeting, right? Example of an agenda. Let's come up with 5 ways to increase SYE's market share in Bali. That's a clear agenda. Let's come up with 3 ways to make principals love SYE in 2019. Right? That's very clear. Everybody, a week before the meeting, you can actually set this up. People can start thinking. When it comes meetings, like, oh my goodness, you asked me this question now. I never really thought about it, right? I mean, with technology, you can just key, all right, agenda for next week's meeting on SYE. 3 ways to make principals love us in 2019, right? I mean, by the time you come for the meeting, maybe in 10 minutes, you've got all the best ideas trashed out, all right? So clear, right people, clear goals, okay? Next, start meetings on time, right? If you waste 15 minutes in the beginning for 20 people, that is many hours wasted, right? So how do you start on time? The trick is very, very easy, all right? Don't start at, say, 2 o'clock, right? When people see 2, they come at 2:10, they don't feel bad. They don't. It's quite normal in our Asian culture, you know, 2:10 is okay, 2:15 is okay. Put there 2:10. And then people begin to realize, hey, this is serious, man. Right? 210, no, not about 2, no. When you put 2, it's like about 2. Approximately 2. You put 210 is no more approximate. Sorry, okay? If you want to be even more precise, put 212. Alright? Meeting starts at 2:12. Okay? Then when people come later, you say, oh, the meeting started. Start exactly at 2:12. Right? So for people who always amble in late, this is a very simple trick. For people who like to drag meeting on, some chairmen love to talk because there's nothing else to do. Alright? Put the meeting 12:12. Right? If your lunch is 1 o'clock, you put it just before lunch. Right? Even you like to talk, you know it's lunchtime, you will end. Okay? So this is very simple. There's no rocket science in this kind of thing. Just using common sense. Right? So if I have a long-winded chairman, I will say, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk it at 2:10, right? And we'll end at 1 o'clock. I tell you 1 o'clock, everybody's ready to go already because it's lunchtime. Or before going home time. Right? So time, be disciplined. Right? If you don't, a lot of people purposely come late because they know it's never going to start on time. There's a lot of anyway, if I come 20 minutes late, nothing has passed. Right? Okay? So discipline with time. Okay, discipline is very important. You can tell people, this meeting will be short, but I want your attention. Right? No cell phones. I want you to do your time. Will end very fast. Every minute will be well used. Okay? People very soon will get the hang of meetings. Okay, right now, nobody comes to a meeting on time, including our leadership training. Right? So that's discipline. Discipline is, there are rules, okay? In any game, whether you play basketball, you play music, there are rules. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. You will spoil the whole thing, right? Please, no cell phone, no typing on your cell phone, no looking at Facebook. Let's just all meet, put our brains to it, don't waste everybody's time, get it done, and off we go, right? Somebody should take notes. I like the way of taking notes on a whiteboard. Because when you write, I don't know what you're writing, I don't know what the secretary is writing. When you write on a whiteboard, I know you're taking notes rightly or wrongly. And then I can see where we're going. I can see the agenda being ticked off. Item 1, finish. Principles, dealing which principles for SYE. How should we see them? That's the second agenda. Who should do it? That's the third agenda, right? What budget for this? Fourth agenda. I can see it. It's on the board. It's probably sent to me a week before, right? So I can see it very, very quickly. By the time I go to the meeting, I said, hey, we should use these 5 principles. These are my favorite. These are my friends, right? Hey, we should use Sarah because Sarah knows most of the 5. All right, what's the budget? All right, I think we can do it very cheap because I've been thinking through and we can just buy this, buy that. So a few gifts from here and then, All right, so the meeting can just, a 1-hour meeting can end in 10 minutes. If they are prepared, if they're the right people, all right, and you have the discipline, everybody goes to a meeting expecting something, and then he sees the notes there, he sees the agenda being ticked off. Very good. And then you don't even have to take notes. After that, you just click a photograph. Everybody click a photograph of the whiteboard, and that's your notes. That's your meeting notes. Okay? No need even to send. I mean, I just everybody has a cell phone now, and that's important. And then the decision. At the end of the meeting, what's the decision? Wow, we talk for 20 minutes and 1 hour and nothing, no decision. Right? So this is the acronym you must all know. WWD, WBW. What is it? Okay? Everybody must know this acronym. If you want to have a committee meeting, this is what it means. Who will do what by when. Okay? No use talking. Talking is worthless. Everybody talks, but nobody does. Okay? At the end, all right, who will select the principals? Who will do that? Okay, when can I get a list? Tomorrow? Good. All right. Who will visit them? Who will visit principal 1 and principal number 2? All right. Johnny will visit them. Who will visit principal number 3? Oh, you know her. Okay, you will do that. Okay, number 4 and 5, who will visit? When must we complete all this? Everybody say, oh, I think by next weekend. Okay, all right. So write it down. Principle number 1, visited by Johnny. By this date, report back to us. Finish. Meeting over. Thank you very much. Can go home, right? Okay, so I hope we understand a committee meeting is basically, right, to get decisions, to make plans. Sometimes a committee meeting is to throw ideas. We call it brainstorming, right? That kind of slightly different, okay? In brainstorming, okay, what you want is a knowledgeable people, very similar. Okay, let's go back. Let's see the principles again. Okay, in brainstorming, key people who, all right, let's brainstorm 10 ways how to be the #1 basketball program in the Philippines. All right, so the knowledgeable people are there. Now, what you do in brainstorming is, as a chairman, talk last. Okay, generally in a committee meeting, chairman don't talk. Because when you talk, everybody said that's already decided. Okay? There's no big discussion lah. The boss already said what, right? And if you really have to talk, if you have to, please try to shut up if you cannot, if you can. But if you have to talk, you have to say, that is just a suggestion. I'm sure you have better ideas, but that's not good. The moment you make a suggestion, your underlings assume you are smarter than them. And therefore, your decision is the decision. So there's no more discussion. So why you call me? Why you just tell me you do a visit here, this or visit there, you know? So in a typical committee meeting, chairman speak last and speak least. In other words, you just make comments at the end. A good chairman also knows, never ask the senior people what is their suggestion first. The moment the senior says it, the junior dare not come up with theirs. Maybe they have a better idea, but they are not confident enough to say because the boss already said this one. Why should I say? So a good chairman is smart. He doesn't speak. He will ask the junior one first. All right? Mary, what's your decision? Who do you think? How do you think we should do this? And then when she says, then you go to the next most junior one, just one bit more senior. Ask. Come to the most senior last, and then you make your comment at the end. Actually, that's the best way because you already heard everybody. You look very smart because you already have feedback from everybody, and actually you're already just garnering the pearls. You come out as if you're very smart, right? So all good chairmen do that. Okay. Number 2, a good chairman knows where to sit. Never sit in the big seat. All right. When you sit in the big seat, that means long table, you're at the end of the table, right? Everybody assume you are the smart cookie. What am I to say? You ever watch tribal meetings? You ever watch kampong meetings? They all sit on the floor. Nobody got high chair or low chair. They all sit in a circle, right? It doesn't matter whether you're Batak or whatever. I'm talking about tribal kampong meetings. Very wise. Usually the tribal chief is the old man who speaks few words. All right? He's a smart guy. That's why he's the chief. Right? He just sits there. Listen. And then he finally, having listened to everybody, comes up with the goal. It's not his goal. It's other people's goal. Right? He digested it and comes up with the goal. That's why he's the chief. He's a smart guy. He gets a free ride. He looks wise, right? So a good chairman will always do this. Now with brainstorming, even more important. Okay? Because brainstorming, you want wild ideas. Okay? So you want to say, all right, how are 10 ways we can make our this whatever program the best in Indonesia, the best in Philippines, the best in China. What are the 10 ways? Then you get the young guys. The young guys which come up with crazier ideas. Right? Throw. And nobody is allowed to criticize. In brainstorming, no criticism, just write it down. Just write it down. Right? Any idea, write it down. Okay? And then if a person comes up with an idea that's a little bit off key, not even in the agenda, but it's actually quite a good idea. Right it at the corner. We call it the parking lot. It's a good idea. Shouldn't be ignored. Shouldn't also disturb the trend of thinking. All right. You're talking about SYE, and suddenly he says, hey, actually, this thing can be used for for Master's English talk. Actually, it's a very good idea, but it's not the agenda that you have. Then you write it in the corner of your whiteboard. Right? We call it the parking lot. Okay. So that's an idea not to be further discussed, but not to be forgotten. Okay. So these are just some tips you will have. Right? Brainstorming is best done first thing in the morning. Okay, the timing is very important. Right? If you want brainstorming, have it first thing in the morning. People are very sharp, full of ideas, very energetic. Okay. If you want decision making, do it near the end of the day. Because people don't talk so much in here. They're very tired, they want to go home already. Make the decision. Right? Otherwise, you're around, it's still 9 a.m. in the morning, they talk, and you see quite a lot of staff meetings going to 11, 12 o'clock, everybody's just talking, because a lot of time to talk, still a lot of energy, don't. Decisions, chop, 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 finish. All right? Brainstorming is a bit more free flow, so early in the morning is better, right? And brainstorming, of course, how you sit is very important. If everybody sits in a proper chair, no good ideas will come out. Right? Brainstorming, go to the spa, go to the coffee shop, very, very relaxed, then everybody come up with crazy ideas, and one of those ideas might be the killer one. Okay? So this is basically the committee meeting. A good chairman, right, speaks last and least. Can I repeat that? A good chairman speaks last and least in the committee meeting, because you want the best ideas to come up. Right? And the moment you give yours, you kill all the other ideas. Okay, next one. We come to the one-to-one meeting. Okay, so we had a big one. Assembly, everybody, right? Committee, selected, those who can contribute, right? Then one-on-one meeting. Never forget, these are very important meetings. Meeting your staff, your team, one-on-one. Right? It shows you care for your team. You can actually help them personally in issues they will not dare ask at a committee meeting. So what is the rules for one-on-one meeting? Okay? Let them drive the agenda. All right, if I'm a committee meeting, I drive the agenda. I would say, I want 10 ideas how to make SYE number one. I thought of the agenda. In a one-on-one meeting, I don't think of the agenda. I go to GDC, I meet them one by one. I will always ask them, what would you like to ask? What would you like to talk about? Right? Because they always have something that they're embarrassed to talk in front of the group. Maybe they have a boyfriend, they want to date, should they date their boyfriend? Maybe their father wants them to leave GTC, go back to work. Should they, what's the advice you give them? Maybe you have a quarrel with their roommate. You ask them, hey, we have half an hour to talk. What would we like to talk about? Right? Go to a coffee shop. Go and sit down in some very relaxed place, and then let them drive the agenda, right? So 75% of the agenda is driven by them. But then maybe before that, you get some feedback from the supervisor that, hey, this guy has this problem, this guy has this problem. So 25% of the agenda is maybe you want to bring up some things that they may not be aware they have a problem about. Okay? So informal, that's the setting. And then if you are not willing to criticize, then don't have a one-on-one meeting. It becomes a flattery session, right? You must be willing to give constructive criticism. You can't do that in a group. It embarrasses them. Make them lose face. You can do that one-on-one, but never do it without first praising, right? So we call it the praise/constructive criticism. Give them their due, right? And I acknowledge, you say, I heard from your supervisor, you're really very good at this. You're excellent at this. Wow, you really put your heart to this. And we really appreciate that. Everybody appreciates it. But have you realized you're not very good in keeping a room tidy? Your roommates are troubled by you. Have you realized you come to meetings late all the time? And I watch you playing the cell phone half the time. right? Hey, I'm busier than you, and I don't even open my cell phone during the meeting. Okay? So, praise, constructive criticism, right? And that's the purpose of a one-on-one. You can criticize them, right? Because they don't lose face. And if you do it in a way that don't point a finger and attack them, no. So maybe you're not aware. Maybe you're not aware that you're playing with your cell phone, right? Are you aware of that? Maybe you should realize that it's not good to do that. Okay, so this is the one-on-one meeting. Right. Lastly, prayer meetings. Oh man, we come to one of the amazing things. All of us. Okay, I wish every group of ours had a prayer meeting every single day. Because how can you do God's work without prayer? Right? And yet, many groups will tell you, how can we have a prayer meeting every day? It'll take 1 hour every day. Right? We won't have enough time, so we have a prayer meeting once a week. Why do you need to have a 1 hour prayer meeting? Who said it's a golden rule? I don't see that in the Bible. Right? It's better to pray every day for 10 minutes together, right? Than 1 hour once a week. Right? But how do you have a prayer meeting in 10 minutes? Very possible. Right? With modern technology, why do I need to go to the meeting and say, I need prayer requests? And then there's silence for 5 minutes because Asians are always embarrassed to be the first guy to raise his hand. Any Thanksgiving and everybody's quiet for 5 minutes. You look at me, I look at you, the chairman says, hey John, you got anything to share? We're just wasting time. I mean, we watch this drama goes on for years. I'm sure we have Thanksgiving, but we just embarrassed to be the first one. Maybe my Thanksgiving is very small. Maybe my Thanksgiving is all maybe you got healed from cancer. Mine is that, the GP came on time yesterday. Now, how can I be the first to say, thank God the GP came on time yesterday? Like embarrassing, man. Right? So everybody's waiting for everybody. I tell you, a prayer meeting can take place very fast. How? All right? Share your Thanksgiving before the prayer meeting. All right? That morning, the prayer meeting is 7 to 7:20, 7 to 7:15. Always share your Thanksgiving. Right? Share your prayer request. My aunt is sick. My dog died yesterday. You share all that. You can read it very fast. Okay? And then by the time you come, all the chairman needs to do is assign the right people. Okay? John has a whole list of things to thank God for. John, can you thank God for these things? And the other Thanksgiving items, can you also pray and thank God for them? And then Mary, you have a major prayer request. Can you please pray for your mom who's got cancer? And please include John's prayer for his dog and Mary's prayer for his cat, right? And then, you assign everybody. So, 10-minute prayer meeting, very effective, very powerful, all right? Because prayer is powerful. Prayer doesn't need to and go through the drama. It's just simply thanking God, simply requesting, okay? And we could all do that. Actually, everyone. All right, 7:10 every morning is our prayer meeting. 7:20, we break and go back to work, right? And everybody just comes right on time, packed. All right, pray for this, pray for this, pray for this. And we pray because we are prepared. We know who the problems are. We can pray. Okay? So please don't make a prayer meeting that draggy. We have to fill 1 hour. So let's sing 3 songs. And then someone share devotion. It sounds very sacred, like the whole hour. But is that a prayer meeting? I thought a prayer meeting is about prayer, right? So we become very specific. I believe, okay, a prayer meeting can be the powerhouse of all our meetings because we start the day thanking God, praying for the events of the day. Bang, we go out confident. We are ready to do those things because we prayed together about those things, right? It's not a prayer meeting to fill an hour. It's a prayer meeting for power for the day, right? And I believe this will be the game changer for all our ministries, right? So, having said that, let me just end by a simple formula I just read there, okay? How do you have energy? Most of us seem to lack of energy at the end of the day. I think most of us say, whoa, I am so pooped at the end of the day. How do people have energy? Why do some people can just keep going on and on and on, right? I think two things determine whether you have energy or not. It's not how much you work. I'm sorry. Kids who play computer games, right, can play for 24 hours without stopping. They cannot even do homework for 10 minutes without feeling tired. Come on, it's got nothing to do with your stamina, right? If you think energy comes from your stamina, just watch a kid doing what he likes to do. If there have been cases of kids play computer games so they did not eat until they died, all right? Did they die tired? No, they were full steam at it until they collapsed, all right? They had energy. Why? They had fun doing what they did, and they had a purpose. Maybe their purpose is to shoot 100 rockets or whatever, kill 1,000 people, but they had a purpose, and they had fun in fulfilling that purpose, right? So all of you, I believe this, okay? One reason why most of us start the day with very low energy is after the meeting, there was no fun, and there was no purpose. Let me say, wow, working at SYE, terrible. Wow, it's a long day ahead. Because you started the day. The meeting definitely wasn't fun. It was boring. And what in the world was I doing there? There was no purpose. All right? So you have started the day killing your people. You go to a prayer meeting and say, oh wow, just pray for these few things. You could have done it in 5 minutes. It took 1 hour. Why? Was it fun? No. Was it a purposeful prayer meeting? No. Then, what kind of energy would you have for the rest of the day? Nothing. You're not looking for the rest of the day. It's boring. All right? It's purposeless. Okay? So, when people say you don't have time, I say nonsense. Nonsense. People who will enjoy doing things, all right, always seem to keep achieving, having lots of time. Why? Because when you've got energy, you don't need to sleep. You don't need anything else. You make time. You enjoy it so much. You don't want to stop. All right? So, what's the final formula? You got no time? I tell you why you got no time. Right? Because you have no fun in your work. You have no purpose. And every day you say, very stressed. Wow, not enough time to finish everything. Wow, I'm really tired at the end of the day. Right? And we think that is my character. I've got no stamina, Pastor. I'm not born energetic like you. Right? It's got nothing to do with it, friend. Flip the formula around. You give them a fun thing to do. You ask them to go to Universal Studios in Singapore. You ask them to sit the rides. They enjoy it. They go whole day until the closing time of Universal Studios, and they come and say, not enough time in the Universal Studios in Singapore. Huh? You were there from 10 in the morning to 10 at night, 12 hours, not enough time. Why? They have fun. That was their dream. Right? So, please, my friends, when you have a team that is telling you, I'm stressed, it's too much work, I don't have enough time, I can tell you, there is no fun or purpose. And the large part of it is, you made it no fun for them. And there was no purpose in you as a manager running a meeting for the sake of running the meeting. Parkinson's law. Fill the time available. If I have to fill it with 5 songs, I fill it with 5 songs, even though it's a prayer meeting. If I fill it with I will fill it because I have to fill the time available. All right. Now, if a prayer meeting should last 10 minutes, let it last 10 minutes, make it fun and purposeful. Everybody's enjoying it. Everybody comes out, wow, that was great. I tell you, your whole work life, your work team will run at a different speed, at a different energy level. Okay? So please don't kill our team, right? You as a manager, you as a leader, most of the time you are planning meetings. All right, I can tell you a manager's job most of the time is meetings, right? And you can't run a meeting, right? You are killing your team. Okay, so no point to talk about other 1,000 about devotional, about God, about very very spiritual, and then you start to be like that. Wow, right? Very very spiritual, but no time, no energy, no fun, no purpose. Okay, so let's end here with a short word of prayer and then ask a few questions. Okay, Father, thank you for this time that we can just sit down and think through how we as leaders can run meetings that are very purposeful. Everybody contributes, feels significant. It's a great time, and God help us to have great teams that just look forward to every working day. May our organizations, may our teams begin with prayer and go through this every day. The power of God's Spirit, power of purpose. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, any questions about meetings? This is shorter than usual. I'm trying to keep everything to 1 hour, hopefully. And so any questions, please throw the questions in. And from next week, I'm going to build on relationships, all right? How to build strong relationships. One of our big problems is most of us, even within the team, we don't have very strong relationships. It comes, it's disunity in the team. That's, stuff like that. How do we build strong relationships? And these are principles for the family, for the teams, for outreach. How do we build not just relationships, not just a smile, the eye contact. Build strong. That we really love to talk to one another, really love to spend time. So that's from next week onwards. Okay, any questions on meetings? You can type it in as usual. I think the typing is by this evening we'll send you the link for the recording. So that will be. Your comments are very, very important to me. I want to get this perfected because once we do our Masters of Practical Ministries, we should be just flying with this program, the format, getting better and better. Okay. No questions? Admittedly, it's a very simple subject. It's very simple. I think we just confuse that the assembly becomes partly a committee, And to be honest with you, I read books and meetings. It's never very clear on this. To me, it's very clear. There are just basically 4 simple types. Actually, there are only 3 types of meeting. The big one, no questions, everybody. Second one, selected discussion. Third one, one-on-one mentorship things. All right, anything coming in, maybe? Okay, so we'll just close. If there are no questions, if you want to send it into the WhatsApp link, that's fine. You can send it and I can try to answer on the WhatsApp link. But in the future, learn to ask questions. It's always the fastest way to learn because that is the key to learning. Listen well, and then bang, 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 questions are in your mind. And you clear all the roadblocks, it could be very practical questions, like, okay, I run SMCI, we are all in different parts of the country. How do I run meetings, for example? So it could be very specific to your situation, like SYE, you're all over the country. How do you run meetings? Remote. Go remote. Do what I'm doing now. You can have meetings every week. In fact, you have prayer meetings every morning. The whole team. You could have Balige, Samosia, Sianta, all of you coming in for a 10-minute prayer meeting. No issue. Okay? So all these things are questions that are very specific to your if you're lonely, you're like Lexon all by yourself. What will you do? Have a prayer meeting with somebody, right? Fix a time, right? Send 3 or 4 of you, fix a time. Me, Shadrach, and somebody, you can all fix your time, and then you send prayer requests to each other every morning, 7 o'clock sharp. Everybody goes on WhatsApp, WeChat, and then have your prayer meeting. No issue. Okay? So God bless you. See you next week. It's on relationships. I want every one of you to have the best relationships, because that's what all religion, our Christianity, our family, everything is based on relationships. God bless you. Take care.